go slightly wider on the view, just so you can have a reference of this front housing there. This is the front of the tractor there. Now, if you have a look down the side, I've got the lights set up. It's all right, but you can see inside here all the dirt and that. That's where the hydraulic screen should have been, and the hydraulic screen screws down on top, and look, there's not a bit of dirt in this screen. It's a steel washable screen in this case, but yeah, you can just see that there's nothing there. It hasn't been hooked in there for a long time, so the pump's probably got quite a bit of wear. And if we look right down in there, I can see the side of a piston, and it does look quite glazed. So anyway, we'll find that as time comes. So now to get the hydraulic pump out, we have to remove this shaft. Now that has a split pin that holds these two together. So what we can often, we can put the tractor in gear to stop it turning, but I've got a tripod set up on top of the gearbox on a steel plate, so that won't work. Come around, and I don't reuse these ever. If you have a Massey that's driving along nicely and all of a sudden it just stops driving, certainly worth popping the side cover, the PDO side cover, and having a look at this, because if this split pin fails, this shaft can then head forward like that, and this is your pinion that drives your crown wheel. So all of a sudden you've got no drive, and it can be because that split pin has come out. Now this shaft here that goes up into your high-low, that can now come out. There's a needle bearing there worth a good look. They're not dear, these little parts, for them. You can see where the pin's been. It's been there for many years. Looks like it's only ever been in one spot. I thought it was a bit loose actually, but anyway, that's okay. You can mark this, you know, with a felt pen or something like that, but if you have a look, see the witness mark here? Can you see that's shiny compared with the hole next to it? The hole's slightly radius from the split pin sitting in it. Look for those things. Now we have the pump down the bottom here, and you can see the control valve on the pump. I have had over time this little clip fail, and this comes off, so that looks okay, but you've just got to look at the sludge in this gearbox. So our next part of the job of getting the hydraulic pump out is go around the back and pull the PDO shaft. Now this shaft down here, which you can't really see, it's in the shadow at the moment, you can't really see, that's the front of your PDO shaft. So to get this hydraulic pump out, we have to come out and up. So we need to go out the back and get rid of the PDO. Well, we're at this PDO shaft at the back here, and it's flogging around here, and someone at some stage has put a plate along here, and I have no idea what the plate's about. I'd say there's a circlip missing from the housing. It's made it all want to come backwards. So they look to be 5/8. Well, one of them's even loose. So they've got longer bolts there that they probably didn't need. And that takes the plate off. Feels like it's sticking in behind the sway chain bracket there a little bit. Oh, we got a few goodies in there. I actually had, when it had oil in the gearbox, I had to put a tin under here to stop it leaking. So normally it doesn't have that plate, but it has this plate here. And so you'll have to undo a screw each side and this one at the top. And then that plate will come off. And it has two flats here. And the two flats to stop this housing turning and to keep it in place. Now sometimes they come out like that. If you do have trouble getting that off, put a PDO yoke on and bash on the yoke and you'll get it off. And I'd say there's no, oh no, that's okay. And also you'll see a couple of flats down through here. I think we've got you in frame. A bit hard to see sometimes. And when the plate sits on, that sits on those shoulders there and that holds it all in. Now when you're buying a PDO seal for these tractors, you can just buy the seal, but don't forget to buy that O-ring. That O-ring gets forgotten a lot and people will put it back in and it's hard. And they say, oh, just replace that PDO seal and it's still leaking. Well, that's your problem. Now to move the hydraulic pump, you don't need to pull the shaft right out, you just need to slide it back a bit. But in our case, we're pulling it right out. We'll just sit him up there. And the splines look good at this end. There's a little needle bearing support in the back of the hydraulic pump. And this surface here is quite rough. And if you have a look at the wear on this PDO shaft, I don't think we'll be using that again. We'll put a new bearing. I suppose we'll probably get a whole new shaft. Now we have the PDO out, we have on each side of the tractor, there's these little dowel pins. Now a 1/2 inch socket fits these, and these are your hydraulic pump supports. So we'll just pop them off both sides. And put the bolts in our top cover tin. I'll undo the other ones while I'm on the go. Now they support the hydraulic pump, and that's what they look like. They get worn there and the little rattle gets worse. But to get them out, they usually just pull out, and sometimes you need to put your hand inside, grab the pump and just give the pump a little bit of a wriggle. And there's a paper gasket under there. Sometimes I don't put the paper gasket in, I just use Loctite. And on this one, you can see the amount of wear there. That's quite worn. That would make for a rattly pump, quite noisy. Okay, we're at the stage now where we've taken the both pins out, so we should be able to lift this hydraulic pump out. And I'll try and lift him around. I've got lights coming this way and cameras going that way. So what we need to do is slide the pump backwards and take it off the drive at the front, and you can just see it went loose there. And then we need to lift him up out. Now, remember me saying, can you see that? Yep. Remember me saying that the front of the PDO looked a bit dicky? Well, there's a collapsed needle bearing in there. Right, and we'll zoom out there. You can see my safety thongs. And that's the hydraulic pump out. So I suppose what we could do now is give it a wash and have a look what happens. But when this is quite warm because of the rubbish in the gearbox, and you can see the pump goes back and forth. It's a Scotch yoke pump, and this hole here, that's where the oil comes up. So it comes in through the filter here. Normally this filter would be screwed onto there, and you can just get your hand in the side plate to change it on some, but they're often wired on, and with the wire they're hard to get in there and get out. But anyway, we'll take that back off. So yeah, things we can look at is just a bit of movement there. The drive comes into the pump through this yoke here. Oops, sorry, giving you a bloody bash around. And if we look, down here, you can just see the edge of a piston, and you can see how it's a dull grey with scratches along it. So that's a fair indication that this pump's had quite a bit of dirt in it. If you have a look over there, you can see the same. So no wonder it was getting sticky.